Well, I think it's better to just do well and then just say, yeah, that was fine, because
Yeah.
it's a job. I mean, it's a job. You don't see firefighters coming away from a house that's still burning going, well, I had a good time. Uh, you know, it doesn't really matter unless you do your job. Like you can come away saying, yeah, look, start of it went okay, and then I kind of bombed in the middle, and then I'm like, man, just like, can you invoice for it? Someone has asked you to go and speak in front of 200 people and make them laugh for 40 minutes. Did you do your job? And can you invoice for it? There's no point in fooling yourself thinking, oh, that was amazing when it wasn't. And there's no point coming back depressed that, you didn't do better. You just have to find a way to do your job. There's no point in a taxi driver bringing you to the wrong venue and say, oh, we all had a good time though, didn't we? That's just, I don't want to sound too Roy Keane about it, but at the end of the day, it's a job. So there's no point in ringing your friends, telling them how well you've made your pizza. You just make your pizza and give it to the customer and move on to the next one.
But yeah, be grounded either way. Don't get too high or too low.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, also, if you get really high after a gig, you're kind of setting yourself up for feeling like, if you're letting your emotions be dictated by your performance, then on the high side, you're also letting that happen on the low side. You're leaving that door open on the low side,
Okay.
and you might end up getting your mood or your day might get dictated by how well or how badly you do your job. So you might be better just making it I don't mean phone it in or anything like that. I mean, you still have to work hard and you still have to get your jokes in order and learn them and go up and deliver them. But after that, just like get in the car and go home. One of my friends, I did a show with this is maybe I'm doing comedy too long, because I did a show in a place called Ennis in County Clare in Ireland a few months ago. And my friend Keith Fox was opening for me, and before uh, arriving to the venue, I remember I pulled into a petrol station because I wanted to fill up for petrol, because I thought, when we come out of the show, uh, that dial is going to be low. I'm going to have to get petrol. It's going to be after 11. Driving from here back to Dublin is a long trek, and I don't really fancy stopping in somewhere to fill up. So we filled up, went to the show. The show went well. Keith stormed it, opening for me. He did like 25 minutes. It was brilliant. And it was sold out when we arrived at the venue. They're like, look, we didn't expect this, but well done. It's sold out. And then the gig went well. I was doing like a lot of new material, a lot of new show and all that. So the audience were pretty happy with it by the end. And we were walking out and we got into the car, and Keith was like, man, you must be really happy with that gig. Like that, it's sold out. The audience are raving about it inside. You did loads of new material. The applause at the end was huge. You must be buzzing. And I was like, Keith, I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm happiest with about tonight? Do you see that gauge there where it says our petrol is full? We don't have to stop on the way home. This is the best thing that could have come out of this gig. We can just drive straight home. And he was like, yeah, you're right. It's the little things. I wasn't bothered about the other stuff. I was so proud of myself for having the foresight to stop on the way to get petrol.
That's good. Have you had a few of those where you've I know a lot of other comics talk about how they'll end up sleeping at a bus stop, or they'll say, "Oh, I had to stay around this person's house or that person's house."
Yeah, I've done well. I was lucky enough at the start of my comedy career where I was driving, and that made a huge difference to what gigs you could do and what gigs you could not do. Because I had a lot of friends taking like midnight buses and stuff like that through the night to. And at the start, you're not doing it because you're selling out a room for a few hundred people. You're doing it because you're doing 7 minutes on the other end of the country, where your name isn't even on the poster. So the payoff wasn't even big, but people were still doing overnight buses and stuff. So I managed to avoid a lot of that just from driving, which was very handy. Um, but yeah, there has been away gigs, where I've kind of had to had to bank on getting a couple of hours at the airport to make sure that the gig happened. So yeah, I think everyone ends up doing that. If you take on every gig you can, and especially at the start of your career, you more or less take on every gig you can get your hands on. then yeah, a lot of the time that goes with it.
So you've been in the scene since I think you correct me because I did tell Chat GBT everyone is not the answer to everything.
I didn't even know ChatGPT knew I was alive.
Shall I ask it now?
Yeah. Is Ger Staunton alive?